Welcome to Declassified Discussions. We are here to talk personal encounters with the paranormal, UFO sightings, and strange occurrences with the unknown. This is one of those stories. Hello everyone, I'm Dave from the Hush Hush Society Conspiracy Hour, and I'm here with one of my good friends for, the better part of 20 years, Collin, to talk about ghostly encounters in the state of Connecticut. Collin, welcome.
Thank you for having me. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Not bad, Glad that our schedules finally met up to be able to do this. It works out, baby.
I want to get into it and talk about what's your first encounter with the paranormal. Was there a certain event that actually triggered this?
I'd say actually, yeah. I'd say I really started paying attention to at least, the paranormal, if you will, would be years ago. God, I must have been like 11 or 12. I was with my aunt, my sister, and my cousins, and, we went out and spent the day together, whatever, went to some kind of park. And on the way back, we ended up passing by Union Cemetery in Easton, Connecticut, and that's like supposedly one of the most haunted cemeteries in the United States. The place has a curfew and it happened to be daytime, so she wanted to stop walking around the cemetery. The hell are you gonna do besides, just go look around, old dates and stuff. I was just walking around by myself. And I happened to be in the back corner of it and came across a rock, like a giant arrowhead laying under a bush. And I went over to it and picked it up. It was rather small, like I didn't think anything of it. But when I picked it up and got closer to it, I noticed there was a date on it and realized it was a tombstone. I dropped it. And it was crazy because the grass underneath the rock, pure white. That rock had not been moved in so long. Being the date on it and all that, I got freaked out. And I remember I caught back up with my family, my sister and everybody. They're all teasing me like, oh, if it's a ghost, it's going to haunt you, da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? Putting thoughts into the 12-year-old's mind.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. You had stumbled upon some type of stone.
Yeah, so I picked it up. It wasn't even part of the cemetery. It was under a bush, along the tree line.
An older cemetery.
It was a couple weeks after that, I feel I had my first encounter. The house I grew up in, there's 2 bedrooms upstairs. My room was one of them. 12 stairs, and then to the left was my room, and then to the right was my brother's room. I remember waking up one night. This is the first thing that really made me start paying attention to things I couldn't explain. I'd wake up and hear footsteps on the stairs, someone walking up or down. And this would always be in the middle of the night, Probably didn't have a clock or anything, but I would imagine between 2 and 4.
Yeah, around the witching hour, huh? 3, 4 a.m.
So I would hear someone walking up and down the stairs, but it would only be, maybe 4 to 6 steps. It would stop, and I would listen. I would never hear, my brother go into his room, per se. I never would hear them walking through the living room that was right at the bottom of the stairs, and that would happen, quite often. And then another thing that followed suit with that would be when I would turn my light off at night, your eyes adjust.
Yeah, a little distortion going on for a little bit.
Yeah, that would happen, but in my doorway, I would constantly see an outline of someone standing there. You know what I mean? It was not super bright. I would see a real faint white outline that looked like a silhouette.
Yeah.
The way it was across the room where my bed was in the left corner of my room, and the way my pillows were set up, I was looking at my doorway, so I would see that all the time. I just kind of dealt with it. It wouldn't really go away, and it never did anything. You know what I mean? Moved around or anything, but I would constantly see it until obviously I fell asleep.
Did it follow you to your next apartment?
When
I met you?
It's hard to say if it was that. You know what I'm saying? There could be a good chance. The house I grew up in was the house my mother grew up in, and when my mom was younger, she lost a brother. She would always say it was, if it was anything, it was him in the house, because my mom, she doesn't close the door on the whole paranormal thing. You know what I mean? She's slightly, she believes enough.
Yeah.
I think she could have just said that to calm a young kid worried about it, because if I would tell her about the stairs or something, or tell her that I'd feel freaked out.
She didn't want to hear that either.
Yeah, probably not. Who would? Me being an adult now.
Your kid comes up to you, hey, I'm talking to somebody in the closet.
The hell you mean you talking to somebody in the closet? What?
What? No. And it was just a dark apparition that you saw, right?
Yeah, the outline of it is super faint. Inside of it, I don't want to say it blocked me from seeing through it, you know what I mean? But it definitely seemed like it was darker on the inside, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you could see through it. It was a little opaque.
Yeah.
But the thing for me is at a band practice, and we were just jamming one day. I think this must have been 2008 or something like that. And according to my friend's parents, his dad grew up there. This house has holy water in it. It's been blessed. Has the bathtubs filled up with blood. It's a horror movie house. It's got a historical plaque on it. It's somewhere in Connecticut. But the basement is horrific. That day that our friend was sitting on the steps playing guitar, we were in the middle of a song, and I was staring up at the stairs, and the door shut. And we thought it was my drummer's little brother, and he just slammed the door from the kitchen. And then when I look up, there's this darker than dark thing thing standing right behind Steve. And he doesn't know because he's sitting on the steps. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I look at my other friend that lives here and he's just like, yeah, I see it. I see it too. And I'm like nodding to him. And Steve turns around and all of a sudden you see it shoot up the stairs and the door slam, like open slam super fast. And everybody just stopped. And I was like, did anybody else just see that? Everybody was like, yeah, I saw that. And Brett's like, no, that's normal.
Well, that's just my roommate. Like,
That's my basement.
he's shy.
Yeah, he's like, that's my basement. That's how it goes. And I was like, okay, that's not cool. But that's probably like my top thing. And then another experience would probably be at a practice space in Wallingford.
I know that building. I know what you're talking about. I would definitely say if there's a place where you're going to find something, it would definitely be that building. That building was sketchy.
Yeah, there was a couple times where I'd be there like 2, 3 a.m., just playing by myself in our practice space. And you just hear laughing. And you're like, what the fuck? It was like children. I was like, yeah, I'm out.
That's the scariest thing to me, man. People that go to Green Lady Cemetery back in the day, the fact that that place was a children's cemetery freaked me out so much.
I think it's not well known.
Yeah, it's well known around here.
Maybe you and I will do another one on Green Lady and White Lady Cemetery. Maybe that'll be something fun. What's the top experience you'd say you have?
I'd say there's two occurrences that will always come to mind. Back in the house I grew up in, first one would be waking up in the middle of the night for no reason. Like, I didn't get up to like get out of bed or look around. I didn't hear any noises. Like, it was just laying there and my eyes opened and I just happened to be just like, staring. Out of nowhere, my blanket gets ripped off me. Like, it got pulled off me.
Like horror movie pulled off.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it wasn't like super violent and aggressive, but it got pulled off me.
Was it seductively slipped off or was it pulled off?
A little bit faster than that. A little bit faster than that. You know what I mean? It wasn't like torn off, thrown across the room, but it didn't slide off like the side of my bed as if it was like hanging. You know what I mean? I just remember that freaking me out. I grabbed my blanket, just went back to bed, like tried to anyways. I didn't know how to react to that except being like completely freaked out. But I'd have to say my top experience in my room, I had like a walk-in closet. I remember I was in there and I was digging around for something. The door behind me shut to my closet.
No way.
And instantly, like, my reaction is to run to the door. There's no light in there, and like, I'm younger. I'm not trying to chill in the dark, you know what I mean? Obviously, like, the door shuts behind you, you're gonna freak out, run to the door and like see what the heck's going on. There was no lock to my door, like the closet door, and I remember shaking it and like pushing it and kicking and screaming, like I couldn't get the door open. I'm yelling bloody murder top of my lungs, and it actually got to a point where like I gave up on it. I remember falling to the ground just like crying hysterically, and the door opened. I burst out of it. My first reaction is to run out of my room to like catch my brother or my sister, thinking it's like one of them playing a trick on me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody was there, dude. My brother's room was across the hall. I ran right into it, looking down the stairs as I ran by, and dude, like, it was just, I can't explain that to this day.
And you weren't home alone, right?
No, I believe, like, my mom was downstairs. Like, she heard all the yelling and stuff going on, like, came downstairs crying and shit, you know what I mean? But I didn't know how to explain it, and you just got her just trying to calm me down, like, not knowing why the heck I'm freaking out.
Yeah, you just got locked in your closet.
Yeah, but it was the craziest thing. Like, there was no opening it by pushing, and I couldn't get the handle to turn. I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't get that door to open at all.
That's crazy.
Like, I'll take that with me for the rest of my life. That is probably the freakiest, like, most uncomfortable thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Does it freak you out when you're in, like, a walk-in closet, or
I mean,
you're in, like, an enclosed space, like a storage closet or something like that?
I mean, being older, I'm feeling a lot better to shrug it off, but if I ever end up in a situation like that again, let's see how I handle it. Hopefully I don't have to tell you about it, but,
If you do, you gotta come on here.
I'll let you know how counseling's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collin and I have actually had a ghost experience together. I don't know if I could call it a ghost experience. It was just a weird experience. It was at my dad's house, and it was a shared bedroom between my brother and I, and Collin was over one night, and I think my dad was on a business trip or something.
Yeah, I don't think your dad was home.
No, he wasn't home, and I think you were crashing, and it was late. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I looked up, and Collin's sitting straight up staring at my feet. If you can imagine this in like an L shape.
Yeah.
And he's sitting straight up staring at me to the right of me. I'm like, yo, are you all right? And mind you, I think we were in high school still.
If not still in high school, like fresh out of high school.
And I remember looking at you and be like, yo, are you awake? And then you just pointed at me and you just started yelling, and it was pretty scary. And then you just laid back down, and that was it. I talked to you the next day, I think, about it, and you were like, yeah, I think you said you had a dream or something. There was somebody sitting at the foot of my bed.
See, it's weird. I have zero recollection of yelling, right? And I remember that multiple times throughout the night, I woke up sitting up in the bed. And I don't know, I didn't really think much of it, and I would just lay back down and go to sleep. It was just weird, like the fact that that would happen. Like I was waking up, I don't know, at least 2-3 times just staring. You know what I mean? Like had already been sitting up. I had like situated myself and I was good. It was just weird. I would go back to sleep. And then you tell me that stuff, it all felt like a dream. It's just foggy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so weird. My brother actually has an experience in that room too, where he said he saw some figure. If he described it, he would have nightmares again. I was like,
well, dude,
yo.
I remember I slept over one time, and you remember me waking you up because I heard footsteps in the hallway. You remember that?
Could have been the old lady that lived in the house beforehand. Supposedly someone got hit by a train behind my house too.
That's what my dad had told me. Who knows?
Probably just to keep your ass away from the train to scare you.
Yeah,
no,
it didn't stop me. It was a weird house. I mean, you'd hear footsteps, especially with those stairs, man, going up and down those creaky stairs.
The house just had a vibe.
I've definitely felt uncomfortable in that house a few times.
And that house wasn't a quiet area, so I mean that adds to it as well.
Yeah. So have you had anything happen since?
When I lived on Broad Street, when I was in the living room at night, you know, watching TV, I would always get knocks, which sounded like coming from my cupboards. It wouldn't just be like, you know, one knock, you know, whatever, something's adjusting, settling. It'd be like a pattern, like a ding, 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 you know what I mean? It would do that until like I paid attention to it.
That's weird.
If I were to pause the TV or get up and go stand in the doorway to the kitchen from the living room, that's when it would stop.
That's super weird.
Yeah, like that used to freak me out. The only other creepy thing I had in the apartment after that, I would say that was the first place that made me have sleep paralysis dream.
Yeah, sleep paralysis is a weird thing, and I've heard a lot of stories, and I actually have somebody else gonna have on pretty soon that has a sleep paralysis story.
You know, I'd have to say, like, really thinking about it, it could definitely, you know, be ruled out. But since I've lived in this current apartment, you know, I live above a restaurant. I'd say I've been here a few years, maybe 5-6 times that really stand out. I'll hear downstairs the rack of dishes, you know, jingling around. Like 1-2 in the morning, you know what I mean? And there's nobody down there, like everybody's gone. I mean, it could easily be, you know, refrigerator turning on, this turning on, something that causes it, and like I don't hear it during the commotion of the day. But I don't know, I hear that, and that's definitely freaked me out. Like, do the real light breathing, listen to my surroundings, you know what I'm saying? Like, see what's going on.
I'd go poke down there. You're friendly with them. Be like, what up?
When I hear that 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going nowhere. I'm staying here.
Well, Collin, I want to thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it, man. It was a pleasure.
And we'll see all of you on our next Declassified Discussions.
Thank you for joining us. If you have a personal encounter, reach out to us at hushhushsociety@planetmail.com. And don't forget to follow the Hush Hush Society Conspiracy Hour.